Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Private Fund Forum. We're so glad to see you all, and thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. I'm Trevor Crow with Doida Crow Legal, and on behalf of Stan Doida right here and the whole firm, we're honored to host you today. As some of you know, Stan and I merged our firms back in 2021, and it's been quite a ride ever since. It's been a great last couple of years, and we're really proud of the team that we have in place and the type of work that we're able to do with our clients. And so this is just one piece of what we do, and we're happy to present this conference here, or I guess fund forum. We're Doida Crow Legal. We are a business transaction firm. We're laser focused on helping entrepreneurs grow, buy and sell businesses. And we're passionate about helping our clients pursue opportunities. And when we say entrepreneurs, that comes in a lot of different forms. It's startup companies, founders, deal makers, fund managers, which is a big piece of what we're talking about today, obviously. And we represent just an array of businesses in those areas. The last several years, we've really kind of amped up our fund practice, and which inspired us to host this event today. Today, our goal is to explore strategies shaping future of private funds, and we have a distinguished panel of guests today. And these are people we know well, we work together with, and have been had the pleasure of supporting each other throughout our careers, which has been great. I'm confident you're going to get some great insights from today, so please look forward to everybody sticking around for the whole event here. I'll go into just a brief intro on the agenda here, so you know. So we wanted to kick off this event with something fun, a fun topic that applies to everyone, which is why we're excited to have Jay Mays from Pitch Lab talking about B2B sales trends for maximizing portfolio company returns. So, it's one thing to raise a fund, but that fund has to do well for you to be able to raise that second fund, right? And so, whether you're doing a VC strategy or a roll-up strategy, might have portfolio companies and they need to increase their sales. That's what your goal is, right? And that's where Jay comes in. And so I think, whether you're doing one of those strategies or whether you're, just want to get some tips for negotiating with your kids to eat their vegetables, you're probably going to run away with something here from Jay's talk. Next, Stan and I will be talking about private fund regulation and life cycle. So that'll be just going into the nuts and bolts of what regulations apply and kind of some of the terms in the documents. Then we're going to hear from Adam Ponder and Aaron Anderson from Structured Private Investments, and they're going to talk about how to run a fund and make it successful. Private funds are complex business structures, and their presentation is going to provide, with the nuts and bolts of running a fund and the key drivers to make it successful and all the players involved. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Brett Story from Britehorn Partners. You really don't have a fund unless you can raise capital, right? You got to be able to raise capital to go put that money to work and to execute on your investment strategy. And so his presentation is aptly named Unleash Your Fund's Potential. And he's going to be discussing how to fund investors or how to find investors for your fund without violating any securities laws. So those are our speakers. Looking forward to all the things. So let's go ahead and kick things off. So please help me welcome to the stage a 25-year sales veteran who has booked hundreds of closed and won deals with clients like AT&T, Red Bull, and the Miami Marlins. For the sake of optimism, he never keeps track of those closed and lost deals. But there's a handful of heartbreaks from which he pulls some of his best sales stories and lessons. So for the past 7 years, he's been a sales consultant and trainer, helping B2B businesses, owners differentiate from the competition, build stronger connections, and win more deals. So a warm welcome for Jay Mays.
One more.
Sorry.
That's okay.
There you go.
Test. Keep it going, Trevor Crow, ladies and gentlemen. All right. These are my two kids. My wife, she speaks 3 languages. I only speak 1. She had to go out of town for work, and I'm trying to console her. I'm like, babe, don't worry about it. I totally got this. Just go. I totally got this. She hadn't been gone for 5 minutes. I'm trying to get little man's shoes on. He looks me right in the eye and says, "Shua." No idea what he's saying. He wins that round. We threw the shoes in the car. Off we went. Later that night, I'm trying to get him to drink his milk. I pour in that cocoa powder. I'm like, buddy, if you want to get big and strong like Captain America, you got to drink your milk. He looks me right in the eye again, and he says, "No, Shua, Shua." And I'm like, oh, what is he saying to me? So my wife comes back in town the next day. He says it a third time. And I'm like, babe, what is this shua he keeps telling me? And my wife, she looks at him and looks at me and looks at him. And she says, monkey, do you mean fikanasua? And he's like, yeah, shua. And she says, oh, Jay, he's been telling you in Portuguese to mind your own business. So the question here is not who's in charge in my house. The question here is when it comes to B2B sales trends for 2024, does everyone in here speak the same language? Let me just get to know the room real quick. Everybody here, private equity investor? Everybody? Okay. Do you have any B2B organizations, companies in your portfolio? Okay, we got one. All right, I'm going to be looking at you mostly for the next 20 minutes. Anybody interested in sales at all? Do you take part in it? Okay. All right. Just looking for a little validation. I'm a former stand-up comedian, so there's a hole in my heart that can only be filled with applause and validation from the crowd. All right, so here's what I want today. In the next 20, 25 minutes, I want to give you at least one technique, one tip that makes you excited to go back, talk with your portfolio company, hopefully accelerate things for 2024. Fair? Okay. I'll ask for it. How about a round of applause for my top 3 trends? I'm going to ask for it. All right, there's a ton of trends. These trends are going to be a little bit more on the sales process. It's not going to be high level. I promise you'll get something for it. Let's jump in. Trend number 1. Here we go. There's 2 juicer salespeople on 2 different sides of the mall. They look the same. They sound the same. They're working from the exact same pitch. The juicer salesperson on this side of the mall, she nails her pitch. And then when it comes time to pour juice samples, she pours them perfectly and hands them out. However, the juicer salesperson on this side of the mall, she also nails her pitch. But when it comes time to pour the juice samples, she spills. It's embarrassing. She recovers the best she can and hands out juice samples. Who do you think that day sold more juicers? The good one?
Spiller, the flawed one.
Spiller, the flawed one? We're almost even. Got to pick a side here. We're dividing it right down. The first one that didn't spill. Okay? You say second? In this study, there's a real study done by Vanessa Van Edwards. The spiller sold more juicers that day. Now, I agree with you all that said that's a little bit of incompetence. Probably like if I'm picking a brain surgeon or something, I don't want to see him spilling. But this was a juicer. And why do you think, my people that said the spiller sold more, why do you think? I heard you, it's relatable. What else? That's exactly right, but what else? Why else?
Open dialogue.
Say again?
An open dialogue.
That's it. That's it. So what I believe is when it comes to B2B sales, human connection is greater than perfection. Human connection is greater than any tech automation. And what I believe is human connection is greater than any AI, any new technology coming on the market. In fact, in a world of bots, being a human being, fostering that human relationship is increasingly going to be a competitive advantage. So, what I see from my point of view, a lot of founders are looking for that easy button. They're looking for that tech. We got to find the right tech. If we just find that tech that's going to fill the funnel, that's going to trick these prospects into thinking that we're personalizing this, we just fill that funnel. It doesn't matter what our close rate is. Just fill that funnel, we're going to win. It's absolutely wrong. In B2B sales, there is no easy button. So here's how I want you to think about tech automation, specifically around AI. Because there's a lot of companies out there that are selling AI as the panacea. This is it. This is it. You can fire your sales team. It's not. So I want you to think of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Billionaire, philanthropist, functional alcoholic, somebody we can all look up to. Okay. He's got his suit. His suit makes him invincible. Well, what really makes Iron Man special? You want to take a guess? What makes Iron Man Iron Man? All his intelligence. What is it? Any Marvel fans? Personality's right, but what's in his suit? Say again? Him? That's it. That's what I was looking for. What is it? Jabbers Friday. It's his AI. So it is him, right? He's the one that sold all those tickets. But he's using the AI as a supplement to be that superhero, to be able to fight Captain America, to be able to be as smart as he can be. That's the way you need to be leveraging AI in B2B sales. I'll take one more. I'm going to age the room. Anybody know what movie this is? Minority. Okay, awesome. I did a workshop for a startup. I showed them Grandpa Simpson, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. All the 20-somethings didn't know who it was. I like snuck out of there. I was like, all right, peace. All right. So Minority Report. How did Tom Cruise use those precogs? Right? It was Tom Cruise who was the hero. So this is what I think the future of AI is. The future of AI is the AI talking to the salesperson, telling her or him, these are the people you need to reach out to. These are the gaps in power within these organizations. So-and-so just posted this article, and you can connect with them over this, this, and this, right? The centerpiece of filling your funnel still has to be human beings. So trend number 1 of 3, prioritize that human connection to drive successful AI initiatives. Do not think that tech and AI alone is going to do it, especially the tech that is out there selling the personalization hack. It's not going to work. One last question before we go to number 2. Are you as humans, and this is just me polling the room, are you as humans interested in reading something that was written by AI, consuming something that is 100% AI? Is that interesting to you as a human being? Yeah, I have a lot of resistance towards it. Anybody disagree? Like you're totally digging it? As soon as I find out something is made by AI, for me, I have resistance towards it. Don't let that happen to the top of your funnel. All right, let's move to 2. That's 1 of 3. Number 2, let's say I came in here and I dumped a pile of Legos right in front of you, and I said, build me a race car. How many people in here think they could build a pretty decent race car? Maybe? Maybe 1 or 2? 1 or 2, maybe build this. I think most of us in here would probably build something a little bit more, it looks like that, right? But what I see is B2B founders, they're asking their sales team to build a little bit something like this. I need you to double the size of the company. Let's throw more salespeople at it. What would you need, Aaron, to build this properly? Instructions. And my son. And your son. That's fine. That's fine. He knows how to delegate is what he's saying. That's the right answer. Okay, so the very first thing that you all should know, I'm sure you know, when you're scaling B2B, you want to be predictable, repeatable, scalable. You got to put that process before people. Founders are failing left and right. I'm not a salesperson. I got to get out of sales. Just hire somebody. If you want your team to be successful, you want to scale, you got to get those Lego instructions down first. Let's assume most everybody agrees with that and knows that. So let's jump into the sales process, and I'll quickly get to the trend. So for B2B, this is a little bit generic, but let's go through it. This is customer-facing sales process for most B2B organizations. You got a lead that comes in, you do some type of discovery, business discovery, technical discovery, maybe it's a couple calls. Then if you're a services company, bespoke, maybe you do some type of proposal, or if it's software, you do a demo, move to contract, closed won. Everybody agree? Okay, everybody in here should also know you need these stages and you need to teach your team to close in phases, right? Closing isn't something you do from contract over. Closing is something you do with micro commitments all along the way. So let's say we all agree with that. Here's the trend though. The most competitive B2B companies and the B2B companies that are going to win in 2024, they're finding a way to provide value for their prospects in each stage of that sales process, regardless if that prospect is ready to buy from them or not. So let's think about that for a second. The reason why prospects are falling out of the funnel is because they think it's a waste of time. This salesperson is going to waste my time. This salesperson is going to try to close me. I'm just in a funnel here. The competitive, the best B2B companies have figured out a way to trade value for time. So no matter what phase of the sales process you're in, what's in it for them? So let's go through it. Lead comes in. What's a way you can provide? And you could throw it out. There's no wrong answers. This is a safe place. But what's some value you can provide to a prospect in a B2B company during discovery, even if they decide not to buy from you? What's some value you can give them in exchange? Anybody want to shout something out?
You can give them a referral to something that might be more of a fit.
Perfect. You can give them a referral, right? Not just go away or not just ghosting them, give them a referral. Awesome. What else can you do?
Some inside baseball that they can't get from somewhere else.
Perfect. Insights. Selling with insights. A lot of people, young salespeople get scared. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Okay, but you're smarter than your prospect at this one thing. There's some type of trend. There's some type of insight, especially if what you're doing is repeatable that you've seen across organizations. That's perfect. And there's one more way, one more real. So insights, trends, there's one more way I'm thinking that you can provide, salespeople can provide value to a prospect in discovery. Anybody want to take a guess what it is? I've seen it done really well, bringing in a super smart SME, sales engineer, free access to an expert, answer questions. Proposal phase, demo, make sure this is customized. And the other piece of the proposal phase to be able to provide value, I've seen a lot of B2B services companies be able to give them insights. Here's how we would tackle it. Here's a strategy. Here's some low-hanging fruit based on what we saw that you should go ahead and fix no matter if you decide to work from us or not. That is number 2. So, where are we at? Salespeople who cannot deliver value and insights are no longer relevant. That's where AI is taking over. That's where you need to just go to an automated portal and cut your sales team out of there. So, your action item, if you are interested in this, number 1, what is the stages of your sales process? Number 2, what's in it for the prospect in each stage? You have to be able to map this out. A lot of these salespeople are younger. They're in their mid-20s. You got to be able to map it out with those Lego instructions. And then what support are you going to give them? Are you going to flank them with subject matter experts? Are you going to be able to feed them insights? This is a lot to ask a 26-year-old salesperson to do. What insights can you arm them with? And what are you doing to keep giving them fresh insights? And then finally, the easy one, how do you track it? So that's it. So number 2, to effectively compete, to differentiate from the competition, build stronger relationships, win more deals, salespeople must provide value throughout the sales process, and you must provide that blueprint for them. All right, I'll give you one more story about my son for this third insight. So I decided to take my family to the mountains, and we're fairly new to the area, so I said, this is going to be the best trip ever. This is going to be the best vacation ever. I took him on hikes. We took the gondola up to the top. He did the ropes courses. He even caught his first trout. Huge, huge. I was so proud of myself. Like, that was a great vacation. The next Monday, he went to soccer practice. His coach said, hey, buddy, how was your trip to the mountains? He looked at the coach and he said, it was awesome. When we got to the hotel, we pulled the bed out of the couch, and underneath was Fruit Loops, Dust Balls, and Cheerios. Best vacation ever. I got pissed. I'm trying to show this kid the best nature has to offer, and he's excited about the junk under the couch. And then you know what I thought? I thought, you know what? That's a lot like sales. It's a lot like sales. We're real excited. Check out this view. Check out this ropes course. And sometimes our prospects, they're looking for a little something different. And I don't need to sell you on this. Discovery is the absolute most important. The old saying is, deals are won or lost in those first couple meetings, in those first couple discovery meetings. So if you want your sales team, your B2B organization to scale, what are those discovery questions that are evolving your sales team from order takers to consultants? It's the buyer's job to rush them as quick as possible to a price. It's your job to be able to have that sales infrastructure, that sales approach, to be able to provide that value and slow them down. You ask the right questions, you're making your opportunities more predictable, you're gaining insights. How do I close this? And you're differentiating from those order takers out here. But here's the insight. Here's the insight. What most organizations are not doing, and this is your last insight for 2024, they're not meeting the prospects where they're at in their buyer's journey. Okay, so I'll unpack that. Has anybody ever heard of the term buyer intent? Where is the buyer at in their journey? What's the buyer intent? Okay, so what buyer intent means is, let's say I'm a salesperson. Michael, can I use you as an example? All right, so I'm a salesperson. I cold call you. For whatever reason you answer the phone, which you never do, but let's say you did, and I talked you into a first meeting. How is that first meeting where I cold called you different than you researched my product or service, went onto my website, filled out a form, and said, I want to have a first meeting?
I would say you're going to have a very short leash to engage.
That's it.
You're either annoying me or you're annoying me.
And those meetings cannot be run the same way. I can't hound you for a 15-minute meeting and be like, well, what's keeping you up at night? There's no value in that, right? So where are they at? In the first one, I interrupted you. You don't even know what's going on. In the second, you're in some type of buying process, trying to figure it out. That is what buyer intent means. Most organizations are not trying to figure that out. You ever heard this saying before? Yeah. This is how most sales organizations run. When the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It doesn't matter. They're coming in, boom, let's ask them 5 questions, boom, let's demo it, boom, let's try to close. Not everybody's at the same spot. This is the mistake. So I'm going to give you my 3 magic questions to figure out buyer intent. There's a ton of great questions. I'm just going to give you 3, and we'll wrap up. Question number 1 that I make all my salespeople ask, what recently changed to make this a priority now? Now, there's going to be 2 types of answers. Michael's either going to say to me, I'm part of the executive team. We just got out of our company all hands. This is absolutely a priority. We got money earmarked, and this is on fire. Or he might say, it's not a priority now. I read a couple of cool articles. I'm just shopping, and we're looking at the next thing. Cool. That's 2 totally different sales approaches. Number 2, order takers never ask this question because they don't care. What does success look like? How will we measure success? Think a year from now, you're happy. What does success look like? If they know what success looks like, great. They're at a certain point in their buying process. If they don't know what success looks like, that's fine. But I have a different job to do. I got to make sure that they understand what success looks like. And 3 of 3 is my favorite question of all time. Not what is your budget, but how. How did you come up with the budget? Can I pick you, Stephen? What's the only 2 answers you're going to get when you ask a prospect, how did you come up with budget?
Finance gave it to me.
I have it, or?
We don't know.
We don't know. That's it. Awesome. Thank you, bro. I have a budget. Shit, they're serious. We're competing. I don't have a budget. That happens all the time. Salespeople don't give a shit. Oh, pitch them. Why didn't it close? Well, why didn't it close? Now you got to build a business case. You got to quantify the value. You got to get this in front of the CFO. You got to help them create a case to buy this. 2 totally different buying processes. So, different prospects need different sales approaches. This is it. Tip 3 of 3. If you want to improve that win rate, you got to understand that buyer intent and train the sales teams on those different approaches. The funny quote I read here is King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne. King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne. They're both rich, British, and live in a castle. Those are 2 totally different people, right? Not everything is a nail that you use a hammer on. So that's 3 of 3. Let's recap real quick. Number 1, do not get fooled by the AI revolution. It's a great tool. Do not get fooled. Tech is not going to save you and save your pipeline alone without human connection. Number 2, figure out a way to make your sales process more customer-centric. What is the value that you're giving them, regardless of whether or not they end up buying for you? That's the right way to build your brand. That's the right way to repeat business. And number 3, figure out that buyer intent. Figure out where they're at in the sales process and their buying process. Meet them where they're at. How much time do we have? 2 minutes? All right, so I have 47 more slides about a timeshare in Arizona. I'm going to knock your socks off. All right, that's it. Call to action. I'm just going to end it then. Call to action. If you like this stuff, I'm Jay Mays with Pitch Lab. You can check me out, pitchlab.io. There's a squatter on .com. I'm getting it figured out, but for now, that's just .io. And if you need anything, jay@pitchlab.io. Hope everybody has a great rest of your forum here. Forum, right? Yep. Seminar. Big round of applause for Jenny for setting this whole thing up. Really awesome. Stan and Trevor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for having me.
All right.
Awesome, man.
Thanks, Jay. Everybody, Jay Mays.
Woo!